All right, yo. Welcome to another new episode of my new podcast. I'm Blush Cameron, and today we're talking to my friend Peter, who plays in a band called Peaer. It's his band. He writes all the songs and everything. It's really cool music, and I'm sure if you're listening to this, you're probably already familiar. And if you're not, then go check it out first and then come back. Yeah, it's pretty cool, and Peter's cool too, and I haven't known him for super long, probably like a year, but I'm always happy to see him, and it's always really fun to talk to him, and I respect his work a lot, so yeah, it's a good conversation that we had today. Anyways, how's everybody holding up? Did anyone else get their Trump dollars yet? I got mine. Spending the whole thing on bills, which is boring, I know. I'd love to spend it all on toys. Tech decks or something cool like that. You guys remember tech decks? If you can't tell, I don't have much to say today, but thanks for tuning in. Follow me on social media at Blush Cameron, and hit me up on Patreon if you'd like to support me that way. Patreon.com/BlushCameron. The podcast costs $10 a month to have uploaded onto streaming platforms, which I know that's not a lot of money, but I definitely welcome any help if you're so inclined. So yeah, that's patreon.com/BlushCameron. All right, let's get to it. Here's my conversation with Peter Katz of Peaer. Oh wait, one more thing. We had some audio difficulties in this episode, so if it breaks up or sounds a little bit disjointed from time to time, that's why. Okay, thanks, bye.
So I teach guitar at School of Rock in Upper Manhattan normally, and they've been working really hard to like transition to online remote lessons. So I've been doing that for like 3 weeks now. 2 days a week I like video chat with some youths and give them guitar lessons for like 45 minutes at a time. It's only a couple lessons.
Oh, well, that's nice.
Yeah, so it's been pretty cool. I mean, it's something to do, and it's nice to like, kind of keep that going and have a little bit of money coming in, but it's nothing really close to what my normal hours were.
What kind of stuff do you teach them?
I mean, a lot centers around like songs and learning songs,
right?
And like kind of just like extracting like lessons from the songs,
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be like, this song is a great use of like the seventh chord, or this song is a cool use of the blues progression or the pentatonic scale, or blah blah blah. So
well, that's cool. I mean, that makes sense that you teach music, and I assume you have a pretty good grasp on music theory too.
I there's always room for improvement, but solid, I guess. Not as good as I used to be in school when I was like thinking about it all the time. But
did you go to school for music? I
did, yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. So when did you start learning music?
I started playing guitar when I was in like 4th grade or something. And so like, I guess from then, but I didn't really get serious about it until like a couple years later, when I like realized it took me a little bit to really like it.
Mm-hmm.
I had to learn a Weezer song first.
Yeah, that's one of the classics, like Weezer, Green Day, mm-hmm. Cream, like Led Zeppelin.
Yep. Led Zeppelin, AC/DC.
Yep.
Beatles.
Yeah, I went into one of my first guitar lessons with a Deftones hoodie on, and I was like 12 or something, and my teacher was like, "Yo, you like Deftones? We're only gonna learn Deftones from here on out." And basically, I learned how to play guitar and drop D, and it took me like years to like start playing in standard again.
That's so funny. I love that.
Were your parents like musical at all?
Um, Not particularly. Like, my brother played trombone in like the jazz band at school and the concert band, and so like there was that going on. But we kind of both got into it at the same time, you know. But my dad used to play trombone when he was in high school and stuff. But no, not really like a crazy musical family.
Your brother's older?
Yeah, he's like 3.5 years older than I am. But yeah, not like there wasn't like I'm probably the only like relatively serious musician in the house. My brother still does play though.
So, how did you get into like alternative type of music? Was it just through like being interested, or was there anything that specifically kind of like got you into that type of stuff?
Well, I don't know, it was just friends at school around that time. I got really into Green Day and Weezer, and then I started going on the internet, you know, and
Yep.
like so like going on like Green Day message boards, you know, and like reading old fun trivia about them and like meeting other fans that love Green Day or like made Green Day fan art and stuff like that. And I
Whoa.
had a Green Day shirt for every day of the week.
No way.
Yeah.
That's a lot of Green Day shirts.
Yeah. I loved them.
How did you feel about Hot Topic?
I mean, how do you think I felt about Hot Topic? I loved Hot Topic. I loved it.
That's awesome.
And I had a group of friends, you know, around that time who are still my friends to this day, but that like we all just like connected over like punk music, or, you know, pop punk music of that time, you know.
Yeah, that's been like a common thread among all these interviews that I've done so far, is how the internet like really turns people on to music in different ways. I mean, that's how it was for me, like going on to MySpace or whatever, and somebody having a certain song as their display name, and I'd be like, whoa, this is cool, and going through all the different genres and like, you know, going on to Wikipedia and learning about genres and stuff that way, you know?
Yeah, MySpace was big. I remember. I mean, I also, one of the things was that like with those group of friends that I made like in like 7th grade, like we formed a band, you know. It was like, you play guitar, I play bass. Like, oh cool, like I have a drum set at my house, you know. And like playing music like with people was always like a big part of it. And then through that, like, I don't know, I always think about my friend Paul. He would always know all the cool new bands in the area.
So what was your first band?
So my very first band, middle school, was called Lost and Found, which is just such a classic
nice.
middle school band name, you know, just so classic. And then, yeah, it's so funny. I'm talking about like when I was like 10.
Yeah, but we got to start at the beginning.
Yeah, and then later on, we became like a hardcore band, or just like a heavier, like we started getting really into like Census Fail and like,
oh yes, dude,
other like heavier like emo and stuff like that. And so we changed our band name to Trial by Fire, and then that band lasted until like freshman year of high school, and we became like literally like a scene like chug band. It was so funny.
That's sick. Are there any pictures of you out there from that time?
Yeah, there are, and if you really want to see them, you can check my Facebook. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to show them. I'm not going to.
But if somebody's like, committed to finding them, they can.
Yeah, I suppose they could.
Yeah, well, that's the same for me, though. I definitely have those pictures out there.
There's no use hiding from the past. It's a big part of who I am today.
I feel
playing in that band.
I feel like scene pictures are like a business card almost, Like you gotta trade your scene photos when you meet somebody for the first time.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those memes where it's like if you have a photo like this, like you can qualify for like retirement or something, whatever the like that thing is.
Yeah, totally. How was your high school experience?
It was fine. I had a relationship with teachers, and like I was all around like pretty okay, good kid, didn't cause a lot of trouble or anything. Had a lot of great friends.
Nice. That's good.
Yeah, was in a relation, fell in love, first love, high school, classic. And
wow, that's great.
Yeah, it was a pretty classic high school experience. I did, and then after the metal band, I was in this band called Fugue, and that was like my first like probably real band because we like went on tour. So I was, so that was a big defining factor of my high school experience was like playing in that band.
I have a couple of these early bands written down: Fugue, Poverty Hollow, Sons.
Yeah,
is that all kind of from the same time frame or?
Yeah, so Fugue was a band I was in, and then at the same time I was also playing in Sons, and then like Poverty Hollow really started like in college.
Oh wow! So Fugue and Sons were both high school bands.
Basically, yeah, like late high school. But in the thing about Fugue that was weird was that like I was the youngest one in the band, and like this big age range. Like the oldest person in the band was like 25. Gotcha. It was like I was like 14 or 15. Then it was like 18, 19, 21, and 25. That was.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to listen. What was the music like?
We're like a instrumental like 6-piece like post-rock band.
Classic, dude. What was this, like 2009 or something?
Yeah, something like that.
That is the classic era of post-rock.
It was, yeah, I mean, we're like a mathy epic post-rock band, and I still love that music to this day. I'm really proud of what we made.
That's cool.
That was like that was very formative to like my style playing, and also just like the reason why I went to music school and all that stuff. So
where can people listen to that?
Fugue.bandcamp.com. FUGUE. I haven't put it on Spotify yet, but maybe we will soon.
Were you guys like playing shows and stuff?
Yeah, we played shows a bunch. We got to play we got to open for some really sick acts as they like came through Connecticut. Like we played with like Tara Melos and Marnie Stern and Melt Banana.
Whoa.
And
those are big names.
Yeah, it was sick. We like what else? I don't know. We just got to play a bunch of sick shows. And it was cool. I'd say we had a ton of fun.
Man, I would kill to see Melt Banana.
They were amazing. they were. I didn't really listen to Melt Banana, but still, just like I knew seeing them, especially in the space. Like they played this play in Connecticut that no longer around in its original form, but it's like a small room and like a base.
So where in Connecticut was this exactly?
That it was in a town called Hamden, which is just outside of New Haven.
Huh. Interesting.
So yeah, Fugue was really formative, and was like a much more like they were like much more like straight up emo band, with like some were some of my like best friends. and still are. And so after Fugue broke up because some of them got like really sick jobs. Yes, Sons was still going on, and we were in college. And I was in college with one of the members. His name's Will, and we're still really good friends. And we just kind of changed the band name to Poverty Hollow for a couple of reasons. But Poverty Hollow was very much the same band, members wise, as Sons. And so that band went on a couple tours. And like put out some recordings, and those are all still only on Bandcamp. But it was really fun, and I remember it very fondly. I was much more of like a lead guitarist in that band.
So I didn't do any singing. Did that like influence you at all when you were starting Peaer, or did it influence your expectations, or how did Peaer start?
It was like, I was definitely more inspired to like write songs around that time. And so I started, and I was also like, studying music, and I don't know, I just like had been writing my own sort of songs for a while, but never really thought to like really go for it until around like 2013, 2014, when I was like, that Poverty Hollow like just broken up. Basically, we went on this really terrible tour that just like stretched us all to our limit. And then, later that summer, I just like had a bunch of songs that I had written, and I was like sad over some relationship stuff. And yeah, I don't know. It just, I definitely like learned a lot about songwriting and performing from those bands. And so I like had definitely measured expectations, or like had a solid idea of like what the performance aspect, what I really wanted it to be like. Mm-hmm.
And what was that? What did you want it to be like?
I wanted to have a focus on dynamics. I remember playing in Fugue with 6 people, and dynamics are like such a huge part of what I learned from that experience, because in order to really balance live, especially when we were playing in like basements and stuff that like could barely handle or fit 6 people, keyboard and 3 guitarists and a drum set and a guy that like had like a whole like live effects rig, and I mean, so we all learned how to like over exaggerate and play like really, really quietly all together, and like contrast that with like various levels of loudness. And so I just really wanted to keep that, I really wanted that to be part of the, live experience of Peaer. And also, and also just like some of the complexity from Fugue, having like odd time signatures and things like that, sort of melding in with some of the hook based writing that I sort of learned from Sons and Poverty Hollow, and more straightforward stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, you can definitely hear that in the music. Were those bands still active when you did the first self-titled Peaer release, or?
Like the one on Bandcamp, or?
Yeah, the one on Bandcamp from 2011.
Poverty Hollow is still active for sure.
What was the role of these early Peaer releases? Like, what was the first self-titled Old Bones?
Oh yeah.
Do you still think about those releases at all?
I mean, yeah, every once in a while there's a couple of gems on those songs that I like, but they're mostly just sort of because I was in college, and like everybody I knew was like putting out songs and stuff, and I was like, I have a bunch of songs, I want to put them out. And so I did that. but like I never really like played any shows or like did any performances around those, you know, those releases, mostly because I was like still in Poverty Hollow and like didn't really have that impetus to like make my own band, you know.
So it really was just kind of like doing it without any sort of expectations of like making it something.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I feel like everybody has a hope, you know.
Yeah, well, that's true.
That like somebody's like, this is so good, like you should play a show, you know. I didn't really get any of that like direct encouragement, so yeah, I never really thought to take it any steps further until Poverty Hollow like fizzled, and I was like, cool, maybe I can give this a shot on my own. Or I more so just like had the idea. I was like, okay, like I would like to play shows with my own music now.
Yeah, I feel that. I kind of went through the same thing with one of my earlier bands. After you're working in an environment that's kind of diplomatic and playing like maybe you're contributing songs, but you're also playing other people's songs.
Supplementing.
Yeah, writing songs together, and at some point it's like, this is fun, but it's like, in a way, it's a lot more work creatively because of just like how long everything takes to get done, compared to how when you're writing all of your own songs and planning all of your own moves. Mm-hmm. Did that kind of like influence you at all when you started Peaer?
Yeah, I definitely had the feeling. I was like, I really want to like, because I also like played drums and bass and stuff, and I would like have my ideas for like how I wanted the drum part to go and how I wanted the bass part to go. And so I definitely like had that feeling of like, I want to just do this all myself.
Yeah, I feel like a person like you just can't be contained to a band in that diplomatic kind of way just because like you have too many ideas, you know?
I honestly miss it a whole lot. I think like that's just a totally different type of sort of writing and creating, you know, is like being in a, like that was a big part of my experience in Fugue and Poverty Hollow. It's just like we would, you know, write together and it would be diplomatic. Like it's great to like have full control of everything, but there's an element of that, you know, I really miss. Is just like, is that like teamwork sense of music, you know?
Yeah,
like
that is really nice to have.
I watched this documentary. I watched like half of it, like because it started getting weird, but I'm sure it's fine. But called Bastards of Young. Have you ever seen it?
No, what's that?
It's a documentary about like the emo scene of like early 2000s, 2006. And it's about like Drive-Through Records and like and it has like Under Oath and Take Back Sunday and Armor for Sleep in it and everything. And Whoa. It's like a time capsule.
That sounds awesome.
It's so good, Jeff. You should totally watch it. You'd love it.
All right, let me write it down.
It's on YouTube. So
cool. Yeah, I love that stuff.
I actually found it because I searched emo documentary. But the reason why I bring it up is because, and like, given all those kids were like 17 or 18 when they're in those bands, but like, you watch it and you're just like, dang, these are all just bands, you know, like,
yep,
full, like everybody's in it all the way together. Instead of just like, here's my song, and I hired a couple people to write it or to like play my parts for me, you know?
Right. Yeah, those are real bands back then.
Yeah.
I don't think they get enough credit, to be honest.
Yeah. They were real ass bands. I mean,
those were real ass bands. So what's up with Eyes Sink Into the Skull? What was the process like behind that one? Like, what was going on there?
So that was like the first, like, I'm gonna record it all myself sort of album. And I like, that was between my junior and senior year of college. And at the end of my junior year of college, I like, got to write it because I went to school for music, and I got to write a piece. I got commissioned to write a piece for this violinist, and it was really sick. And I got an award. Like I was like awarded, I got paid to do it basically. And then I applied to this program in Italy. It was like a 2-week long like music workshop sort of thing in Italy that summer. And I was writing my own songs around this time. I had a bunch, and then I went to Europe for a month, and then I was just like, while I was there, I was just like writing and planning until I got back. So when I got back, I was in an apartment off campus, and we had a drum set up in the attic, and I just like spent 2 weeks just recording all the music I was just thinking about for the last month or so, and writing for the last like year, or for the year previous. And so just sort of like I held it all back, and then in like a week and a half or 2, I just recorded it all. And it doesn't sound very good, but I don't know.
Yeah, maybe not, but like the ideas are there, and you can definitely tell it's like an evolution from the first 2.
Yeah, it definitely just like wanted to make like a full band sounding record, and I just really didn't want to worry about how it all like. I didn't want to be too particular about how it all sounded. I just wanted it to all like kind of just get done. So I also I had a hesitance to recording, since I think differently about it now, but at that time in my life, I was just I had like my experiences in studios had been like kind of grueling, and so I just really wanted to just like do it and not worry about it. I had my good friend Andy over to like mix it really lightly. I was like, hey, I'll pay you a little bit if you want to just like come here and just like listen to my record, and just like he do like the very basic stuff so it doesn't sound like absolute total shit. And they did a really great job. I mean, for considering,
for pennies or whatever you gave them.
Yeah,
I've never had a good experience in a studio.
I have, but I just went like, it needs to be kind, I don't know. It's tough. Like, I'd imagine just like being comfortable and like playing with your friends in a studio is really nice, but like booking out time and being really like, nervous about it all, it can kind of get stuffy, and then like things can take a really long time.
Yeah, I also feel like I also feel like I don't want to take up everybody's time, so I'll kind of settle for takes that I don't necessarily like.
Yeah, it's like a slightly like ego battle. It's weird.
Yeah, I guess that's why it's important to have like a good producer who knows what you want, or like knows what's best for you.
Yeah, that is true. It's a great argument for a producer.
So did you start touring around this time?
Yeah, I started playing shows and like some solo shows, and then my roommate and my friend joined the band. I like asked them to help me play the songs, and we started touring a little bit, did like little weekends in the Northeast, and a couple days here and there.
When did you get hooked up with Tiny Engines?
So we, at the very end of college, Jeremy, who now plays drums, approached us because he was like a recording guy at school, and he was like, hey, I'll make, like, you guys are sick, I'll make you, like, do you want to record a record before the year's over? And I was like, you like Page the Lion, and I'm pretty sure you study with Steve Albini at some point, so yes, like, let's fucking do it. And so like right towards the end of school, we made a record. We made that, and then
which record?
Yeah, the Peaer self-titled with the Peaer on it.
The 2016.
Yeah. So then from then, like, I like had this record, and didn't really know what to do with it. Or I would just sort of like, I want to put it out and I don't really care how long it takes. I'm down to just like chill and wait. So I started shopping around, and some of my friends at the time, like adult mom, who also went to Purchase, they were connected to Tiny Engines. And so they put in a good word for me. And I also, like, at that time met Caleb from Sinai Vessel. We played a show together. So I like had 2 links to them, and I was like, if you all wanted to put in a good word, I'd love to send my record to them. And I did, and they did. And that's sort of how that happened.
How was the experience in the beginning working with them?
It was pretty chill. I mean, like, I didn't really expect very much, and like from a label their size, and so I was just sort of like happy that we were going to get a record pressed and we would get some press for it and all that stuff.
For sure.
So yeah.
Tiny Engines back then was pretty sick as like a roster of bands.
Yeah, and it only got better as it like went on until it didn't anymore.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on the controversy, and did it affect you at all?
I mean, I'm just really disappointed, like everybody else.
The controversy being, for anyone unaware, just that Tiny Engines wasn't being transparent about the money situation with some bands. Is that what it was?
I mean, they're really terrible at accounting, basically. And they are behind. They owe a lot of people a lot of money, basically. And yeah.
That's like the DIY Vagrant.
Kind of. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know that whole story. So, the Vagrant story. But, I mean, yeah, I'm just disappointed like everybody else. And it's been really slow trying to make our next moves and what we're going to do about our older music. And, like, it just kind of sucks that, like, A Healthy Earth is sort of tied to that now.
I guess that is pretty inconvenient timing.
Mm-hmm.
So are you still signed to them, or were you on like a 2-album deal, or?
We had a 2-album deal, so we're no longer a Tiny Engines artist technically. So,
do you think they're dead? Or do you think they can make a comeback?
Hard to say. I would like, if they do, I'd hope they would answer my emails first.
You hear that, Tiny Engines? Answer Peter's emails.
But listen, everybody's fucking human. I don't think they're evil.
Sure.
So it's.
I mean, running a label's got to be hard as shit, right?
I'm not here to, incite animosity or anything. It's just, and I'm just disappointed. That's really my main emotion towards it all.
Yeah, I feel you. So. I would feel that too, and I do feel that. The Peaer self-titled sounded really good.
Yeah. I was really, really happy with how that record sounds. Jeremy did a really, really good job on really limited resources. We did a lot of the recordings in apartments and other stuff like that. So
it's got more moments of rock as opposed to the older ones, which are more kind of like straight up slowcore, mathy kind of like slowcore stuff. Mm-hmm. Was that due to better studio resources, or just your writing style changed?
The writing style changed pretty considerably just because after Icing on the Skull, I was playing with a band. So I started writing songs with a band in mind, Mm-hmm. So yeah, that was a conscious thing that happened. So.
Cool. Well, what was going on between the self-titled and Healthy Earth?
A a lot of stuff. It was like many years. So like the lineup that recorded the self-titled sort of dissolved. I graduated, moved to the city, and then moved home, and like went on a couple tours, or went on like one tour, then moved back to the city. I don't know, just like a bunch of movement around, and like, so there's no like solid lineup. But in the middle of one tour, me and my then new bassist Tom, we were touring as a duo, and like right towards the end of it, we were in the area that Jeremy was living. Hi. And we like asked him, because he was a drummer, and he recorded the whole record, and he would like mix it all. We're just like, he probably knows the songs, so we like hit him up, and we're just like, yo, Jeremy, do you want to play like the last 4 dates of tours all like in your, you know, like within an hour of where you live? And he was like, yeah, sure. So we met up and like did that, and then from then on, that was like the lineup. And yeah, and then I had written all these songs over those years. That was like 2016, 17. And then I'm just so bad with time.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be able to remember my life if it wasn't for posting online.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I could find one of those, but we didn't start recording A Healthy Earth until early 2018, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you were writing like way before that, or?
Yeah, some of the songs I'd written in like 2016.
Uh-huh.
Like Circle and In My Belly. I Know What You're Thinking. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite song on A Healthy Earth?
I think Commercial might be my favorite song on Healthy Earth. It's one of my favorites to play.
That's a good one.
Yeah. I think that's my favorite one for now.
I feel like your lyrics have a lot of like, they're very like unique and like distinctly you, but like you write about physics a lot. Is that like a true statement?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I like that stuff. I like the natural world. I like the non-coincidence of it, you know.
Uh-huh.
I think there's a really solid poetry in that.
One question I had was, you know, you do write more complex songs, but then every now and then have like kind of a more straight pop tune, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever feel like you could see yourself moving in a direction away from the kind of mathier, jazzier stuff? Or do you ever see yourself going back to straight up kind of like math music?
It's hard to say. I kind of have that battle all the time. Like, I just remember this one quote by Omar Rodriguez Lopez, where he said, when the Mars Volta was starting, he says, I just really wanted to write songs that I wouldn't get tired of playing for like ever, you know? And I just think that just really resonates. Like, I don't know, that was just like a really big goal of mine, was like write songs that I wouldn't get tired of in a year or 2 years or 5 years or whatever. And so I think part of that kind of factors into writing more complex music.
That makes sense.
Or just because it's like, you know, it kind of stretches you and pushes you a little bit. Or that's what I try and do.
Mm-hmm.
But then sometimes you end up like I don't know, putting yourself in a box or like kind of limiting yourself too much. And that's when the pop songs come out, where you're just like, I just need to kind of say this and write a song, as opposed to like overthink it, you know?
Yeah, I feel like that kind of simplicity is also like the complexity of that sort of simplicity comes from the like discipline it takes, to like keep it simple.
Yeah.
Which is like, a challenge in its own right. Do you like sit down to like practice guitar these days? To like,
all the time.
Do you like actually practice your scales and all that?
Yeah, every day.
Whoa, that's pretty cool.
Every day. I mean, it's not like regimented. It's not like like today I will do my arpeggios from 2 to 4 p.m. It's like, but like, I play guitar for a job with the kids.
Sure.
And so like a lot of the times I'll just be like sitting in a chair with my guitar, and then there's always a guitar like within arm's reach of me. And so if I'm not like writing or anything, I'll just try and do a scale as fast as I can, or in a weird pattern or something.
Whoa.
Yeah, I think it's really fun.
Have you been writing any new stuff?
Yeah,
during this quarantine?
A little bit here and there. I more so like kind of started recognizing like how I write songs, as opposed to but like I have been writing some more stuff. Mostly just like I have a couple ideas that I think will eventually turn into songs.
In what way did you recognize how you write songs?
I mean, part of it includes like sitting down and like, really. Isaac once said to me, I think it's great. Isaac from Strange Ranger said, you can only write a song if you put yourself in a position to write a song. It's not just going to come to you. And so part of it is like doing that, but also part of it for me has been writing little by little over a long period of time,
Yeah.
And just like letting stuff sort of germinate in the background. And like, there are a couple riffs that I like have written more recently that whenever I pick up a guitar, I'll like play them, and add a little bit more or like change a little bit.
So do you start writing songs with a riff?
A lot of the time it'll be some sort of riff or chord progression. Unless I have like a really solid melody idea in my mind.
Yeah. I used to start with like riffs, and then these days it's more so just kind of like a chord progression thing. Mm-hmm. Just taking like a simple or nice sounding chord progression and kind of like, I guess, riffing the vocal over top.
Yeah, I haven't written a lot of vocals recently. I haven't been in that mindset. But
do you listen to a lot of music in your day to day?
Yeah, I'd say so. Put on like a record, or not really. I have a record player, but I don't like put on an album while like cooking, or some playlist or radio station. Watch some live streams.
Yeah, I think I agree with Isaac. Like putting yourself in the position to write songs, but I feel like another way to say it for me is like setting an intention, Mm-hmm. Like, what am I feeling? Like, if I feel like writing a song, what kind of emotion do I want it to be? What does the sound like? What songs am I inspired by?
Yeah.
So what's inspiring you lately for new songs? Do you have anything in particular?
Classical guitar, fingerstyle, and jazz, like fingerstyle playing. And like chord, that's like what I've been mostly playing recently. And so, yeah, I'm just trying to be, yeah, I've been trying to focus even more on like voice leading and moving chords around and stuff.
I see. That sounds cool.
Yeah.
What was the art for healthier? It's like, what made you want to do that with like the train stuff?
So years and years ago, like 2017 or something, I went to my bassist Tom Lombardi's parents' house for the first time in Pleasantville, New York. And then we went downstairs in the basement, and there was this huge train set there. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I took a photo, and that photo is still in the background of my phone, my lock screen. And I was like, this, like, when we make another record, this should be the art. Like, we should just take a bunch of photos of this train set and use it for everything, for like the label and the inset and like all the stuff.
Dude, I love that.
Yeah. And then, so we didn't even know what it was going to be called or anything like that. I just knew that the next record was going to have that as the artwork. And yeah.
That's funny, because it does kind of connect to the album title.
Yeah.
In like a pristine alternate, an alternate Earth where everything is really nice looking,
Yeah. It's funny because in that train set, there's like a little tiny protest, and like there's like, I don't know, there's like a funeral happening and stuff, but we can get great pictures of it.
Wow.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's real everywhere.
You had to cancel a tour, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. We did.
Is that going to be rescheduled?
I mean, the tour was centered around these two festivals, South by Southwest and Treefort. So who's to say? I really want to go back to the West Coast, but I'm just really just not even thinking about touring right now. It's just very far from my mind.
Yeah, I feel that. It doesn't seem... It seems like you kind of like take this whole music thing at your own pace, which is cool.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. I definitely try. Like,
you don't seem like you're in a rush to play the game,
I mean, yeah, obviously I have aspirations, but I also think that I talked a little bit before about mottos that I live my life by, and there's 3 more, and I think they all relate to this question. Keep an open mind, manage your expectations, and take your time. And I think those are the 3 facets that I live my life around. And I think that really applies to how I view music,
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. I gotta get into that.
my friend Victor told me that once, and it's very wise. I tell it to everybody I know. So,
thanks for doing this with me.
Oh, no problem. I mean, thanks for, being curious and making this program. It's fun.
Hey, screw the quarantine. Let's go out for a beer.
Let's go out for a beer. Sounds great. At the bar that's definitely open.